I want to take you back to Nigeria's political history, considering what happened in 1966 and the unfortunate coup, the killings, and all of that. Is Northern Nigeria yet to forgive the Igbo nation? If the North has forgiven the Igbo nation for all that happened and transpired during that period, why is it difficult for a lot of Northerners, including yourself, to want to queue behind the Peter Obi, who a lot of Nigerians say is competent, he's got the spirit of uniting Nigerians, and he may help to develop the country?
You see, forgiveness is divine. It is biblical, it is also Quranic. Even it is within common sense. But let me tell you one thing. The northern crop, the entire north, are the most forgiving people I have ever seen on the face of the earth. Not because I'm a northerner, but I'll give you a reason. They are the most accommodating on the face of the earth, and they are the most tolerant for the following reasons. Number one, if we had not forgiven the Igbos for the killing of our officers during the 1966 coup, you wouldn't have had currently over 3 million Igbos in Kano pursuing legitimate businesses. All the shops they occupy in Kano are not on rent, it's owned by them. All the houses they occupy in Kano are not on rent, they are owned by them. They form part of the commercial nerve of Kano commerce. All the churches they have built in Kano, as at January this year, there are 4,980 churches fully certificated by Kano state government, owned by Igbos, presiding over, and they are living in peace in Kano. Ask any Igbo man if he has any threat in Kano to his commerce, to his life,
let me just come in here. It can't be owned by only Igbos. It could be other Nigerians, including Northerners, who are of Kano origin, who are Christians.
You made a specific mention of if we have not forgiven Igbos. If you had said that, it is going to be an open ended, I can tell you, but I'm specifically answering your question. Go to Katsina. Churches are owned by Igbos. Businesses in over 600,000 people who are over extraction in Katsina are living peacefully. Go to Sokoto, go to Zamfara, go to Kebbi, come to Kaduna. Millions of Igbos are all over the north. They are not even where, they are nowhere. They have the largest number of presence in the north in terms of their physicality, in terms of their business, in terms of their socialization, in terms of everything. If we are not accommodating, if we are not forgiving, if we don't look other side, if we don't turn the cheek, they wouldn't have been here. We have turned the other cheek. If you tell us how many cheeks, we turned the right one, it was slapped. We turned the left one, it was snapped. We kept on turning the invisible cheek of love so that Nigeria can remain peaceful. North is very accommodating, it is very tolerant.
Okay, if that's the case, then why do you have a problem with Professor Ango Abdullahi working with Olusegun Obasanjo to support a Peter Obi potential presidency if he wins the election in 2023? Don't you think that by taking this position, you're sending the wrong message that someone who is a Peter Obi from the southeast should not be easily accepted by Northerners?
You are not even understanding me. I said, politics is an open market. It is a game of negotiation. Of course, it's a game of numbers. Let Peter Obi come over to the north and sell his candidature. We will weigh him, we evaluate him, we assess him based on his own presentation, not through a third party. And I don't have an issue for the records with Ango Abdullahi. He's an elder statesman, much older than me. I respect him. He has given incalculable contribution to the development of education on the north. But the objection I have is that he is an active member of Northern Elders Forum, presumably speaking for the north, for the downtrodden northerners, for the poor northerners, for the traumatized northerners, for the dispossessed northerners. That is his selling point, speaking for the North. And all of a sudden, fully aware of history records, of the antecedents of an Obi as a governor, how can he convince Northerners that he's not speaking from both sides of the mouth? In one breath, you are said to be protecting the North, projecting the North, promoting the North and Northerners and Northern interests. In another breath, somebody is trying to drag you into an Obi project, because I'm saying dragging because I don't know whether he has bought the project hook, line and sinker. But if he does, it is the biggest disservice he is doing to Northern Elders Forum. It is the biggest disservice he is doing to the memory of Sadona of Sokoto, Sir Ahmad Bello, Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa, Joseph Tarka, name them. It's the biggest mistake he can make in his life, to be speaking from two sides of the mouth. He's entitled to go and promote an OB, but the moment he does that, he should keep aside the issue of protecting, promoting, and protecting the North. You can't have the two going simultaneously at the same time. Okay,
at least you've said clearly here that he has this constitutional right to back anyone that he chooses to. So why are you involving the likes? Why are you involving the likes of former head of state Ibrahim Babangida and former national security advisor General Uguso in this issue? Why are you asking them to stay away from supporting Peter Obi, and why were you also bringing Atiku Abubakar into that conversation?
Okay, for a special reason, I will pick one after the other. Number one, if an Obasanjo has disdain for Atiku, it's not for a reason, it's not for no reason. There is a reason for that. One of the reasons might be that Atiku took Obasanjo to court as assistant vice president 9 times, up to the Supreme Court, and he won 9 times. Obasanjo is not a forgiving soul. He will never forget Atiku for making him look maybe naive in the eyes of the law. Winning somebody 9 times in the eyes of the law means Atiku has an upper hand legally on Obasanjo's empty claims and threats and intimidation. Number 2, there is a way you reciprocate. There are people that reciprocate you negatively with the bad blood. I think it's part of Obasanjo's way of paying back to an Atiku. The same Atiku, when Obasanjo came out from the prison, he was technically bankrupt. He was brought out by a northern coalition and other southern coalition. He was dusted, clean, given a clean bath, and he was called an elder Obasanjo, a trustworthy Obasanjo, drafted into the political arena, made a president out of him, saw him in. They garnered a lot of money. When he was presiding, when he was campaigning, he realized that only an Atiku has a structure of PDM inherited from Shehu Musa Adua. And he needed a structure that is fully rooted in the North. He did not pick Atiku wholeheartedly in all sincerity, but because Atiku had three advantages. Number 1, he had a solid PDM structure. Number 2, he knows the game of politics. Number 3, he has so many supports from all over the country, enough to make an Obasanjo a president. You could see that soon after becoming the president, only the first 2 years were rosy. The remaining 6 years were hectic and Herculean and embattled for an Atiku. At every point in time, like the scribes and the Pharisees of Jesus Christ's time, always asking for a question. Where is Atiku? What is Atiku doing? What happens to Atiku? He wanted to nail him. That is why they were in court 9 times. Maybe that is why they are reciprocating Atiku. And that was the condition under which I brought in an Atiku. Number 2, for an IBB, when Obasanjo left Zaria, when he was reporting back to his group, he said his next 2 assignments will be to reach out to IBB and to reach out to General Aluguso. If you had my clip very well, I was just giving IBB and Aluguso an advance notice that in the event an Obasanjo come asking for their support for an OB project, they should be extremely careful and wary. And I reminded IBB that if there is anybody in the world who knows Obasanjo very well, he is one of the 10 people who knows Obasanjo very well, in and out, for the following reasons. The same Babangida who rehabilitated or was part of the rehabilitation of Obasanjo, made him a president. Soon after ascending to power, he made Babangida his punching bag. I still remember freshly when he came to Arewa House, the first Arewa House lecture, Obasanjo was the speaker. And he painted Babangida in the most uncomplimentary colors. He called him stupid, bastard, a failure, so many unprintable adjectives. The same Babangida had spent over 3 billion naira to ensure that Obasanjo becomes the next Secretary General after Butrus Gali. But in spite of all this magnanimity, Obasanjo gave Babangida's regime endless trouble, more than the scribes, the biblical scribes and the Pharisees. So I told Babangida, remember, be a prisoner of history. Remember what Obasanjo did to you. Ensure that if Obasanjo comes in for an OB project, at the least you can do is remain neutral.
Okay.
Remain indifferent.
We don't have
He
enough.
has injured you in the past. He will continue to injure you.
We don't have
And I
enough
also
time
told
left,
Ayubu so that
Madishewu.
Obasanjo may come over to you. Be careful, be wary.
Okay, Madisha, we don't have enough time left. I should try to round off this conversation very quickly. So you are saying that if Peter Obi comes to the North on his own without an Obasanjo, the North will give him more listening ear. And some people will want to question your credibility or your credentials for wanting to speak for the North. Who appointed you the right speaker for the North? Since you don't belong to Arewa Consultative Forum or the Northern Elders Forum, on what platform do you have these credentials to speak on behalf of the North?
Luckily, in your introduction, you never introduced me as somebody speaking for the North. Neither have I done that. That is number one. Number two, under the Nigerian Constitution, the second part, the second chapter dealing with fundamental objectives and directed principle of state policy, clearly spelled out why government come into place: to protect lives, properties, honor, dignity of the citizens. And where they have failed to do that, I have a civic, moral, constitutional, ethical responsibilities to speak out without claiming to speak on anybody's behalf, exercising my own rights as a citizen of Nigeria, unless we are going to dispossess me of that right. Number three, it is politics. I am a stakeholder, a registered voter. I have my own choices and I have my own preferences.
Okay.
Part of my preferences and choice is to speak out loudly. If you speak the truth, you die. If you don't speak the truth, you die.
Okay.
I would rather speak the truth and die.
Okay, so just before we go, I didn't hear you saying anything about Bola Tinubu and the APC. Is it an admittance that the North may likely be in bed with the APC and its candidates, and so that's why you are going so hard against Tinubu, and you're talking more of Atiku and Peter Obi?
I don't have any problem with Bola. I don't have any problem with Bola Tinubu. The only problem Nigerians have with him is let him come out through a credible media like Arise and tell people his real name, the schools he went to, his genealogy, his background, the source of his wealth, his state of health, and so on and so forth, in an open, transparent manner, not being evasive, not hiding behind the scene, and not making empty statements. Gone are the days when you sell people a trumpet card, when you sell people a rotten meat, when you have option to give them a fresh meat.
So will you now be saying that your allegiance is to someone like Rabi Musa Kwankwaso of the NMPP? Is that where the North seem to be going at the moment?
I guarantee you that the day I make my mind to promote and protect and project a presidential candidate in Nigeria, that day there will be no missing of the words. I will be straight, open, direct to the point, and unapologetic.
Okay.
Take me on this.
All right. We must thank you so much, Madishewu, who is a civil rights campaigner and then, of course, a voice in the North.